here's a lesson I'll give that's not generalizable to all, but like it made a lot of sense to me. And so whenever I've tried to chase dollars in a quick period of time, it's like almost fucking impossible. You're going, one, if an idea is very clear, it means there's going to be a lot of competition around it, and somebody that's better capitalized with more resources than you is going to execute. So when you put yourself in a short window, it makes it very hard to experiment. So there's two things that happen if you're just going after dollars. One is when things go bad, which most likely they do. I mean, maybe sometimes they don't, but in every company I've been in, there's like these hard times. It's like, what's going to carry you through? And so my business now, it's selling something that I did that transformed my life. And so for me to be in a sauna with somebody, and we'll talk about that, and to guide through breathwork, like that's what I do in my spare time. I like make breathwork tracks because I fucking love it. And like I get all my validation from hanging out with customers. So like love your customer and the problem you're solving. And it doesn't have to be like not everyone's going to work on their passion, but you need to be excited about the problem you're solving day in, day out, or you just won't be able to stick with it. So that's a huge one. And then time for emergent behavior to come through, which is like, I think this is pretty misunderstood, is that the initial, and this is why you have this concept of a pivot, and people think like, oh, you pivot because what you're doing is not working. And it's kind of real, but if you dig a bit deeper, why this happens often is because problems aren't super easy to find. And so generally the first problem you find actually leads to a much bigger problem. And you only find that out. It's not clear, right? It's not transparent. And so you find that out by working with somebody. And so once you start working with customers and hearing their feedback, you're like, whoa, we're actually solving this thing. And this is like, majority of tech companies have like some kind of pivot or transition. It's because these big things are sort of under the surface. And so to do that, you need time to like experiment. And that's why a lot of companies start their like side projects, you know? So it's someone hacking away on something, they do a side project, they have this like unique insight, but you're never going to have that unique insight with a business plan and a whiteboard. So this whole idea, when I went to school in an MBA school, of like starting your business, it makes no sense. If I was an entrepreneur now and I was young, I would say like, okay, I'm going to pick something I'm like really interested in either the mission or the people or the problem. And I'm going to say, I'm going to do this for like 3 or 4 years, and I'm going to work on it for free around people that are really, really good. And I'm going to just put out side projects and like try to spend as little money as possible, not need money, and just be around. And so I actually did this with crypto, and it paid back the dividends like massively. And so I think that's like a good place to start. If you're like looking for ideas, it would be like join Discords, join DAOs, watch what's happening, and like wait, hack on little things, and then let emergent properties happen. And so an example for me, I'm kind of rambling now, but I just like this thread a lot. But an emergent property for me here was, okay, I love saunas and ice baths. It's what I do because I'm sober. Like, let's build an ice bath in my backyard. I'm going to have my friends over. Okay, this is dope. Oh, guess what? This isn't really an ice bath for health. It's actually an onboarding into meditation. Well, that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll make meditation classes in the hot and cold. And then it's like, well, you know what? This isn't even really meditation. It's about like connecting people. And all of a sudden people are dating that met here, and like they're getting married, and like these people are going on a trip and only meeting one time, and people are crying. And it's like, whoa, you know what? I actually think we can solve loneliness with this thing. So it's just like, as you emerge, like I never would have thought that a bathhouse, for me, it was around longevity because I'd heard Rhonda Patrick. And now what we're building is like this platform to solve loneliness and like increase connection. And so it's just an example of having 2 years to kind of iterate and test, and like a customer base will always, like emergent properties will come for something new.